Trivets are a practical way to play with new stitches, and this project is no exception. With this quick little pattern, you'll learn how to crochet a loop stitch that'll bring loads of texture to your repertoire of stitches, and it's much easier than you're probably thinking. The step-by-step tutorial is coming up. To knock out an extra step and create a more uniform tension, we'll kick this one off with foundation double crochet stitches, 27 of them. To do that, first make a slip knot, keeping that loop kind of loose, and make 3 chains. Then find the 2 loops here of that first chain, yarn over, and insert the hook in those 2 loops. Then yarn over and pull through, making sure the tension is loose. Yarn over, pull through just 1 loop, then yarn over and pull through 2 twice to finish it off, so just your normal double crochet motion. So that's your first foundation double crochet stitch. Now yarn over again and find the chain you made at the beginning of that last. Remember when we yarned over and we pulled through 1? That's the chain. Insert the hook under the 2 loops of that chain, yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through 1. That's the chain you'll start the next foundation stitch in. Then finish the double crochet. Yarn over, pull through 2 twice. And keep going with that until you have 27 foundation double crochet stitches. Remember, it's always important to keep your tension loose at the bottom. So when you yarn over and pull through 1 for that chain, you want to make sure that's nice and loose. And you'll want to be mindful of your tension at the end of that stitch so the work isn't super loose up at the top. Now don't worry, it will look a little scrunched near the hook. That's completely normal. Just make sure you're keeping the tension kind of loose at the bottom, so when you yarn over and pull through 1, make sure that is loose and that it matches the tension at the top of the work. If you're really struggling with these foundation stitches though, as an alternative, you can start the project with 29 chains, and then you'll double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook and in each remaining chain. Cotton yarn is an excellent choice for this project. I'm working with Lily Sugar and Cream, but you can substitute with any medium weight cotton in your stash. Also, the easiest way to follow along with this tutorial is to have the written instructions handy. You can view them for free on my website, or if you prefer to have a copy to print or save for later, you can buy the PDF from my shop. I'll have a link to both of those options in the description below. Alright, when you have 27 foundation double crochet stitches, it'll look something like this, and we have a really simple repeat from here, starting with row 2. You'll chain 1 and turn your work. Then find the first stitch here and slip stitch in the back loop only. Then chain 5 and slip stitch in the back loop only of the next stitch. And repeat. Chain 5 again, slip stitch in the back loop only of the next stitch, and keep going until you reach the last stitch. When you get to this point and you've made the single crochet in the last functional stitch that you have here, that last back loop, you'll chain 5 again and slip stitch in the turning chain of the previous row. For this pattern, our turning chains do count as stitches, so we need to make sure that we're working in them. Otherwise, we will lose our stitch count and things will go a little wonky. Also, don't worry if it's a little wavy. This will majorly improve as we add the next row. So to start row 3, chain 2 and turn. For this row, we'll stick with double crochet stitches, but we'll do so in the remaining loops, those unused loops from the previous row. So double crochet in the unused loop of every stitch. Now you can see here completing this row really does straighten things up, and these last 2 rows, rows 2 and 3, make up the repeat for the entire pattern. So to keep going, you'll follow with the instructions for row 2 next. Remember, we chain 1 and turn, then slip stitch in the back loop only of the first stitch, chain 5, and slip stitch in the back loop only of the next stitch. When you finish that, you'll work row 3 again, remember, which is the double crochet in those unused loops. So keep going with that repeat, row 2 and row 3, until it measures about 7 inches from the starting edge, ending on a 3rd row. When you do, it'll look something like this, and all we need to do is add a simple border to clean it up. So pick up your working loop, rotate it, and evenly space 26 single crochet along this edge. Now there really isn't an exact science to this, but I tend to split the stitch or the chain as I do this rather than working the single crochet around the entire post, because it'll cut down on the big gaps that process creates. Also, 26 is kind of a target number. Since we're guesstimating the even placement, if you have 25 stitches or 27 stitches, you don't have to rip everything out. That's no problem at all. Just keep the number as close to 26 as possible so the edges stay even. Too few stitches will make it kind of crunch in, and too many stitches will make the edge sort of wavy. Now when you get to that bottom edge, find the first stitch and make 3 single crochet there. Then keep going with 1 single crochet in each stitch to the last. And in that last stitch, make 3 single crochet again. Rotate the work and evenly space 26 single crochet along this edge. That'll leave us with 1 more side remaining. You'll find the first stitch along the top edge now and make 3 single crochet there. Then continue with 1 single crochet in each remaining stitch. Then we'll make 16 chains, so we have a loop that we can hang this off of. And then slip stitch to the first single crochet of this round. From there, you can fasten off. And we'll weave in the ends along the back side. Now the shape is pretty good at this point, but if you want to make it a little neater, I recommend wet blocking. This extra step is always worth it, in my opinion. So you'll need some sort of foam mat and rust-free pins to block your projects. The first thing you'll want to do is run the trivet under water so it's damp but not dripping. Then pin it down in the placement you want it to stay in. So I'm just cleaning up the edges, making the points a little pointier, and also stretching it a little bit as I go. If you pin it down just sort of as it is, it's not going to do a whole lot. But if you're stretching it a little bit, that's going to put some stress on those stitches and it'll want to form the shape that you put it in. So these blocking boards came from Amazon and they're definitely my most used tool. I will have a link to this set in the description if you want to pick these up. However, if you have those athletic flooring tiles, those will work just fine. Or if your kids have those little letter and number tiles, those will work too. After you have it pinned in place, let it dry completely before removing the pins for the best result, and you're good to go. That's all for now, friend. I appreciate you watching, and I hope you enjoy this fun little project. Don't forget to check the description for the links to the patterns so you can see the supplies and steps in more detail. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing that if you're into this sort of thing. I make crochet and knitting tutorials like this all the time, and I'd love to keep inspiring you to make something that'll make you happy. I appreciate each and every one of you who are subscribed and liking, commenting on these videos, and buying PDFs from my shop. You guys are amazing and your support keeps this channel going. Happy hooking, and I'll see you in the next one.